ready? Yeah. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious. This is a press statement from the Muslim leadership on the Presidential Task Force on the review of the legal framework governing religious organizations, dated today, the 24th of June, 2023. The Muslim leadership from different parts of the country has gathered here today to deliberate on the Presidential Task Force on the review of the legal and administrative framework governing religious organizations. Muslims, we know, constitute at least 1/3 of the Kenyan population, and we are a significant part of the Kenyan society. We have been active players in all sectors of this country. Despite our very limited representation in that task force, only 3 members out of 17, we wish to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President for constituting the task force following the unprecedented Shakahola massacre, where hundreds of innocent Kenyans have lost their lives as a result of what is emerging to be religious extremism. We join other Kenyans in sending our heartfelt condolences to the families of those who have lost their loved ones in the horrid killings in Shakahola, which has so far claimed the lives of over 300 people. We wish to state the following. 1, the duty to ensure that the lives and properties of every person in Kenya vests squarely on the government of the day through its various agencies. It is therefore very disturbing that a pastor can turn the forests of Shakahola into a killing field, even as local administrators and security agencies who are mandated to ensure that lives are protected fail in their duties of protecting the lives and property of Kenyans. On this, we state that just apologies are not enough, and the government has the responsibility to take strong action against the relevant officials who are guilty of commission or omission, and also the perpetrators of this heinous act. Number 2, we are cognizant of the scope of work of the task force in reviewing the governance structures of religious organizations, and its recommendations will no doubt have profound effects on the operations and activities of religious institutions in the country. Over the years, the Muslim community has faced a lot of challenges with regards to our religious institution, and this is an opportunity to seek redress and see to it that the interests of the community are protected and safeguarded. The task force is currently undertaking public participation meetings in various parts of the country. We therefore strongly urge Muslims to come out in large numbers in their respective counties and give their views on matters governing the conduct, operation, and structure of religious institutions. As we reflect on this tragedy, what is coming out clearly is that Shakahola massacre has brought out the double standards meted out on Muslims in this war against terror over the years. Muslims have been pained by the arbitrary arrests, incommunicado detentions, extrajudicial killings and disappearances, where hundreds of people have lost their lives in the most flagrant abuse of the law. We do appreciate that in recent months, these illegalities have greatly reduced, but it is our wish that no Kenyan, regardless of race, tribe, or religion, will ever fall victim to extrajudicial killings and injustices. Number 4, as evidenced by the massacre in Shakahola, religious extremism can thrive among adherents of all faiths. Thus, the law should be applied selectively, because religion is not the monopoly of religion. Religion can be misused, and we need to have laws that will take care of that. We are also aware that since the Shakahola incident, certain Muslim institutions in Nairobi and other parts have been deliberately targeted. While it is important that the government needs to be extra vigilant to prevent extremist incidences, the Shakahola massacre should not be used as an excuse to frustrate the activities of Muslim institutions or any other religious community. We will not allow the victimization of religious institutions, and this harassment should cease. Number 6, from the happenings at Shakahola, it is clear that there are gaps in the current legislations and legal framework governing religious institutions. This is what has led to the mushrooming of briefcase outfits in the name of religion, which have taken advantage of Kenyans by promoting teachings which are inconsistent with mainstream religious or national values. There is therefore need to relook at all the legislation touching on this matter so as to ensure that the activities of religious organizations operate in an environment which is consistent with their values and national interest, protect lives and property, and uphold good governance. The Muslim leadership has consistently condemned the misuse of religion by self-centered groups who promote extremism. The Shakahola massacre is a wake-up call for all Kenyans that matters of radicalization and extremism affect all Kenyans, regardless of their faith backgrounds, and never again should it be allowed to happen. Never again should individuals, groups, or state actors resort to injustices to harm innocent people. As a community, we will always stand for fairness and justice, and we will work with other Kenyans in nurturing peace and protection of the lives of all Kenyans, regardless of their faith. Thank you all, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Kenya. Thank you.
We're going to limit the questions, so only 5 should be related to the topic. So we're going to take the first one. Yes, maybe your name and which media house you're coming from, then ask your question. Briefly. A bit audible?
Am I audible? So I'm Kai Kayuko, I represent the Western African, which is an online news portal. Question number 1, I'm a bit conflicted on the definitions of terms like occult and sect. I don't know if what your views are on this particular definitions, and perhaps what dictionary you're using in this particular regard. Without my own definition is the same. Question number 2, the proposal on the minimum standards according to the Gazette Notice number 5661. The minimum standards, does it apply to people who are already within the clergy and haven't been perhaps blemished by these particular practices which are affecting the clergy? Or does it include people who are now perhaps newly into religious institutions? And perhaps question number 3, the governance and institutional challenges. Perhaps as a Muslim community, have you identified these governance and institutional challenges which allow this particular sects perhaps to thrive? Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. This is the second question.
Why this press conference? Why now? Second, you are talking of strong action. Who's supposed to be taking action? And is it the state actors? Because this thing has been happening. We have several authorities in that region, but this action has been done in the presence of those authorities. So when you are saying strong action, who are you referring to?
Let the chef answer the 2 questions first, and then we're going to come back to 3 more people to ask.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I'll try to address the issue of definitions. Definition depends on who is talking and which group you are talking to. I got myself into a problem once long time ago on the same subject that you're asking. For us as Muslims, we don't have a problem of saying this is of the Sunni sect and this of the Shia sect. We don't have a problem with that. But once when I was at a meeting of Christian leaders and I said, you know, this sect and that sect, they got really agitated. They said, you're insulting us. We are not sects, we are denominations. So it depends, first of all, whom you are addressing to. And I wouldn't want to go into the details of what is a sect and what is an occult. Your second question was?
The proposal on standards and minimal certification requirements, is it for people who are already in or people who want to join?
The situation is very, very fluid. First of all, when you say you are trying to address religious issues, you are getting yourself in very dangerous waters. What is religion? Who is religious? What are the standards to measure in terms of who a religious person is and who is not? What are the standards and structures that you're going to put up which is going to be acceptable? Let us take the situation, God forbid, that tomorrow morning I wake up and I start my own religion. Okay? What standards are you going to give me? There are people who their gods are rocks. There are people who their gods are stones and trees. And there are people who believe in Jesus Christ. And there are people who believe in Allah. So what are the standards that you are going to set for these people? It's going to be very, very difficult. You have heard the statement, that is the position of the Muslims. That is the position which is absolutely clearly defined inside that document. However, my take, first of all, this task force is coming on at the wrong time. It was prompted by an event which took place in Shakahola. So it's a reactionary move as a result of that. The task force that was put together should have tried to address what are the security lapses that made Kenyans lose their life over a period of 6 years. Not the religious people, but what are the causes of the lapses? And we lost 300 people and expected probably another 300 people. So the issue should be addressing the organs and the agents of security in this country, not Muslims or not Christians per se. As for the future, crime will be committed. It has happened, it will continue happening. Crime has been committed in the name of everything. Crime has been committed in the name of politics, in the name of economy, in the name of religion and all other factors. But there are laws and regulations that secure this country, and the laws are in place in terms of proactively engaging that crime does not occur and reacting if a crime has been committed. Are we ready for those type of things? So it is not religion per se which is the problem. It is criminality and criminals who are the problem in this case. So the government should go back to itself and ask what went wrong over a period of 8 years when Kenyans were dying and they were being buried. We had the structure of the security in this country from the president up to the assistant chief on the ground. They were present. We had the intelligence security network. We had the police. We had the CID. We had the provincial administration. What went wrong? Are we getting a report in the next 6 months or 1 year of all the culprits who held those positions in Shakahola, Malindi, and Kilifi, up to Coast in Mombasa at the regional level? Can we get the people who are responsible for security? And we get to know what action has been taken against them. That is the way we are going to bring security in this country. Not to look for an individual who committed a crime and everybody was watching him. And he was arrested 7 times and released 7 times. The religious leaders in that place, in Kilifi, be he Muslim or Christians, got alarmed and they reported to the government, they didn't take any action. So first of all, we talk about standard and all those things, you have to go back to the basis. What is the benchmark on which we start? The benchmark is this Shakahola is a failure on the security organs. We don't want the religious leaders, the religious people, and the religious institutions to be seen as the scapegoat for this thing. So we cannot set up standards for that.
Yes, 3 more people.
I don't know whether I answered your question.
Why now?
Yes.
What action against whom?
So just please kindly start by your name and the videos you're coming from.
James from the Standard newspaper. So do you mean you support the task force work to continue, or as you said, focus should go to security personnel accountability? And secondly, Sheikh mentioned about targeting of Muslim institutions on the issues of extremism. Maybe is it possible you can go deeper and maybe tell us which kind of institution have been targeted and what reports have you received
The task force, we support the task force in as much as they're going around the whole country and they're getting the views of different Kenyans in terms of an issue that has occurred. But what we are saying is that there's a primary issue that we need to address. This is secondary. We can address the religious institutions and how we can protect them, how we can guide them to do things. But I don't believe that it is the duty of the nation to regulate and control religious institutions and religious activity in this country, because you will be breaching the Constitution. The Constitution gives the right to individuals to practice their faith the way they want. And you cannot control that. Once you try to control that, you are in breach of the Constitution. I have the right to wake up tomorrow morning with 3 or 4 people and I practice my religion the way I want. The Constitution allows me to do that. If you come up with a regulation which is going to be contrary to that, you'll be taken to court. You'll be breaching the Constitution. Okay? And the bottom line, as I said earlier, is let us look at the problem. Even today, after the Shakahola, there are churches and Muslim institutions probably which are not practicing the way they are supposed to be doing. What are we doing? I don't want to mention names. There are religious institutions that's collecting money from people which I don't know whether it's right or wrong. Can we move in and start telling them to stop it tomorrow? So we have to be very, very careful about what we do. Watch about the criminality and the crimes committed. Finally, on the question that you asked about the Muslim institutions. In today's age, and particularly for those of us who speak English language, and we think we are highly educated because we speak English language, we copy the Western culture. And whatever has come from the West is being seen as normal. And whatever has not come from the West is being seen as abnormal. So because of that, since Islam does not per se, fall on the line of Judeo-Christian culture, everything we do is being seen as being abnormal. In the same light, while the problem that has been caused right now, and we don't say it's the church, it is a person who claims to be a Christian, instead of focusing on the Christian churches, already agents of the government have started focusing on Muslim institutions. We have cases of whereby now most have been told that the call to prayer should be shut down. We have got letters written by assistant chiefs to madrasas telling them to come up and come back and prove that actually they are legality. These are not something we are going to sit down and take it. It's exactly what we were talking about earlier. It is pointing fingers to the wrong people, protecting the ones that have committed crime. So we have gone through this process over the last 15, 20 years. We're not being accused of extremism. But today, while we don't support the case, the culprit is somebody who claims to be a Christian person. It is not the Christians that the focus is on. Already it is the Muslims that the fingers are being pointed at. And we are just cautioning that this should stop with immediate effect. Because we are here to fight for our country, to support religious beliefs, to support religious institutions, and to fight criminality wherever it takes place. But not at the expense of Muslims being pointed at as being the perpetrators of crime.
Thanks so much, Chairman. We have 10 more minutes, guys, so please 2 more people, if there are any. Before sharing, maybe tell me once again, summarizing the statement in Swahili, basically what we're trying to say is going to just do it in Swahili. So 2 more people, if there are any. Yes, please. Name and the media house.
Collins Husseini from Radio 47. Just for clarity purposes, it is the position of the Muslim community that you are underrepresented in the justice. Is that your position? The Muslim community?
Yes. In fact, we are not only underrepresented, we feel that we have been humiliated because in the first list we are not even there. There was only 1 person. Out of the list of 15, there was only 1 person. It's as an afterthought that 2 were added. We take this as an insult, to say the least.
How many should you be, for instance? Within the first person, like what you proposed?
How would you take it that out of 15 that there was 1 Muslim? You see, that's the question we are asking. It is not the number, but the message you are sending to us. That is what we are against. We could have been represented by all the 15. Being Christian, we don't care. But when you put 1 Muslim there and you are pretending that you are giving us the right coverage, we take that as an insult.
Thank you, Chairman. One last question. One last one. Seems there is none. So maybe Sheikh Ibrahim, you can just give a brief pointers. Please, if possible.
Indian news.
Members of the board stating the same list that you wrote your emails, I'll kindly request you to go up
Yeah.
with these and put in your phone numbers live. The same list that you wrote your emails. More than anything, we will appreciate your phone numbers. Okay? After this.
Aya, asanteni. Huu ni ujumbe ama ni taarifa kutoka kwa viongozi wa Kiislamu ambao wamekutana hapa katika ukumbi wa msikiti wa Jamia tarehe 24 mwezi wa 6 mwaka 2023. Sisi kama viongozi wa Kiislamu kutoka sehemu mbalimbali ya Kenya tumekusanyika hapa ili kujadiliana juu ya jopo kazi lilobuniwa na Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya baada ya tukio la kuhuzunisha la Shakahola. Kwanza kabisa tunaungana na Wakenya wenzetu kutoka kila mahali kutoa tanzia zetu ama kutoa pole kwa jamaa na marafiki waliopoteza wapendwa wao katika tukio la kuhuzunisha la Shakahola. Na tungependa kusema yafuatayo. Kwanza kabisa ni jukumu la serikali chini ya katiba ya Kenya kuhakikisha kuwa kila Mkenya na mali yake wana usalama. Swali ambalo tunajiuliza ni kuwa muda huu wote ambapo uhalifu ulikuwa unaendelea Shakahola, vyombo vya serikali vya usalama vilikuwa wapi? Kwa hivyo tunatoa lawama kwa vyombo vya usalama kwa kukosa kuchukua hatua kabla ya kupoteza Wakenya wenzetu kama tulivyopoteza. Na tungependa kupendekeza, kwa vile jopo kazi limeanza kazi yake na limesajiliwa katika gazeti rasmi, Waislamu kila mahali walipo kama Wakenya wengine tushiriki katika kazi ya jopo kazi hili tuweze kutoa maoni yetu. Na tukiangalia nyuma tunasema kulipokuwa na tatizo kuwa dini ya Kiislamu inatumika vibaya na magaidi, tuliona hatua zilizochukuliwa, nyingine zikiwa ni kuwakandamiza Waislamu. Tungependa kusema hivi kama viongozi wa Kiislamu, hatukubali dini yoyote itumike vibaya. Na pia vyombo vya usalama vinapochukua hatua ili kukabiliana na matumizi mabaya ya dini, lazima zizingatie usawa. Iwe ni bila kupendelea upande wowote, bila kuangalia tofauti zetu za kidini, za rangi ama za kimaeneo. Mtu yoyote wa dini yoyote akitumia dini vibaya, sheria iweze kutumika kwa watu wote sawa. Tungependa pia kusema tatizo hili la Shakahola isiwe ni kisingizio za kunyanyasa baadhi ya taasisi za Kiislamu, kwa sababu tangu lilipotokea tumeona baadhi ya vyombo vya usalama vikiweza kukandamiza baadhi ya taasisi za Kiislamu, mpaka misikiti inaambiwa iweze kufunga vipaza sauti. Kwa hivyo tunataka sheria itumike vizuri na walinda usalama wasitumie hiki kama kisingizio cha kukandamiza watu. Tungependa pia kusema tumeona kuwa dini yoyote inaweza kutumika. Pale mwanzo ishara ilikuwa ama vidole vya lawama viliashiria makundi yaliyodai kuwa ni Waislamu. Leo hii tumeona mtu wa dini nyingine akifanya hivyo. Kwa hivyo sisi kama Wakenya tunafaa kuungana na kusema hatutaki tena kwa jina la dini Mkenya yeyote kuuawa au mali yake kuharibika. Kwa hivyo dini zisitumike vibaya, na ikitumika vibaya sheria iweze kuchukua mkondo wake. Kwa hivyo huo ndio ujumbe wetu, na tunasema dini yoyote itakayotumika vibaya sheria iweze kuchukua mkondo wake. Asanteni.
Thank you so much. as I requested earlier on, please kindly ensure that we have your numbers in the same registration list that you wrote your names and email. And I want you to see Abu Sufyan Ahmed. Abu Sufyan Ahmed, who is also a member of Jamia Mosque Nairobi, is in charge of media and all that, all the activities. So he has the list, so kindly make sure you see him. One, to rectify the list, and number two, Abu Sufyan Ahmed will coordinate and you'll get the printed, signed copies of the press. Abu Sufyan Ahmed is here. Maybe you can come. Abu. You, Joe. This is Abu Sufyan Ahmed. Tafadhali naomba, if you want the signed copy of the press release, Abu Sufyan will coordinate and ensure that we get it. And number two is that kindly ensure that you have your phone numbers in that list. Abu Sufyan will be able to coordinate that. Thank you so much.